what we're learning.
The death toll rising in Turkey, well over 3,000 people now dead after a massive earthquake.
Also ahead, off the Carolina coast, the search for debris from the suspected Chinese spy balloon continues. Tonight, the new questions arising in Washington.
From WCTI, this is News Channel 12 at 6.
First tonight, the latest on the Thanksgiving Day deputy-involved shooting in Onslow County that left a woman dead.
Investigators say Sunshine Marie Foy ran from a traffic stop and was shot and killed inside a mobile home. Today, District Attorney Ernie Lee released the findings of the investigation into the shooting. News Channel 12 star Connor was there and is live now with what the investigation revealed.
District Attorney Ernie Lee says that the shooting was a tragic event due to the loss of life. He says that he's ruling in favor of the deputy who shot Foy because he saved the lives of himself and the others on the scene. Lee says the Thanksgiving shooting happened after a traffic stop. A 1987 Chevrolet VT truck Foy was riding in had expired registration. Foy ran from the truck and 2 males remained inside of the truck. Foy then ran inside of a nearby mobile home where she was found hiding behind some clothes. Lee says the investigation found that the deputy used deadly force to protect his life and the lives of others at the scene, shooting Foy 4 times. According to the report, Foy pointed a gun at the deputy's face at close range when he pulled back clothes in the area she was hiding in.
He told her to drop the gun as he was drawing his own weapon in his right hand. He did not draw his weapon until he saw her pointing the gun at him first.
Sheriff Chris Thomas, who was also present during the conference, says his deputy was only doing what he was trained to do.
Well, law enforcement officers are tasked with making split-second decisions all the time. This was a tragic event, but at least the officers are safe.
I just hope that law enforcement is able to remain safe out there. We have a lot of people out there with firearms and a lot of people out there that want to do harm to law enforcement.
Foy's criminal record dates back to 1997 to 2019. At the time of the shooting, she had a pending drug offense in Carteret County. There was an order for her arrest for failure to appear in Superior Court for possession of heroin issued November 17th. Lee says the autopsy revealed that Foy had 3 gunshot wounds and a possible laceration of the hand that consisted with a gunshot wound.
After reviewing the investigation of the North Carolina State Bureau of Investigation, I have determined that Foy's death, while tragic due to loss of life, was justified.
The driver of the truck was cited for expired registration and driving with a revoked license. The deputy involved has returned to duty and has been on the force for more than 6 years. Now, this is the second deputy-involved shooting that we've covered within 2 weeks. Both of those shootings were justified by the DA. In Onslow County, I'm Star Connor for News Channel 12.
Greenville City Council's meeting this afternoon to get an update on the crime in the city. And while violent crime is seeing an uptick, Chief Saul says the numbers are actually down in comparison to the past 5 years. News Channel 12's Deja Mayfield was there, and she's joining us now with an update on what happened. Deja?
Chief Saul's crime report covered everything from crashes to violent crime. And just last year, the city of Greenville saw an increase in crash fatalities. Now, the city of Greenville is working on ways to make driving safer for people here in the city. The chief saying he's even working on a no texting while driving ordinance in places that see a higher traffic volume. But as for the crime in the area, the SBI reports the city saw an uptick in violent crime and property crime. In 2021, the chief says violent crime increased by 5% and property crimes by 17%. In the meeting, the chief presented a map that showed the western western half of the city as a crime hotspot, and he told city officials the Greenville Police Department has even focused their community engagement and enforcement efforts in the western part of the town, where they've seen 700 calls for shots fired and close to 100 felons arrested for possession of a firearm just last year. Chief Saul says reducing violent crime has been a difficult ball to balance, and he's hoping officers can continue work with people in the community to see a reduction in the spike of crime.
It's important for me to say to the public that we respond to the areas that we're called to go to. We respond where the crime has occurred or where the criminal is believed to be. And when we're out there enforcing, that's when we really need to support.
Chief Sauls credits the department's response to shots fired calls to automated shot detection technology and asks for what's to come. He's even created a new 3-year strategic plan that he shared with city officials this afternoon. Chief Saul says part of that 3-year strategic plan is to focus on the 3 C's. He calls that crime, crash, and community engagement. The chief also made a point to note that even though the city's crime is up, compared to the state's average, we're down. Here in Pitt County, I'm Deja Mayfield for News Channel 12.
Deja, thanks. Deputies are investigating the circumstances surrounding the body of a man found at a motel in Carteret County. The Newport police chief tells us the body is identified as that of 52-year-old Daniel J. Savage II. He was found at just after 4:30 this morning at the Hostess House in Newport. The chief says it appears to have been a drug overdose, but investigators are looking into the circumstances of his death. They're not treating this as a homicide. The murder trial of Alec Murdaugh is now in its 3rd week in South Carolina. A judge ruled today he will allow jurors to hear evidence that Murdaugh was stealing money from his law firm and his clients, as well as testimony about committing other financial crimes long before his wife and son were killed in 2020. Prosecutors say leading up to the murders, Murdaugh was borrowing big sums of money to hide that he'd allegedly been stealing from his clients and law firm. They called a bank executive to testify.
Well, the death toll has risen to at least 3,400 in Turkey and Syria after a powerful 7.8 magnitude earthquake toppled hundreds of buildings. Take a look. Authorities fear the death toll will rise further as rescuers search through the rubble. The quake was centered on Turkey's southeastern province of Kahramanmaraş, and aftershocks continue to rattle that region. Turkey's disaster agency reports more than 8,000 people are injured and more than 1,000 are injured in Syria, according to state media. Aid workers are urging the international community to help.
It's a very difficult task for us. We need help. We need the international community to do something to help us, to support us. Northwest Syria now, it's a disaster area. We need help from everyone to save our people.
Secretary of State Antony Blinken says help is on the way to both countries. The sheer force of the earthquake damaged over 5,000 buildings across Turkey and Syria. Meteorologist Grant Carlton is here now to put this into perspective. Grant?
Yeah, Frank, as that death toll nears 4,000, we're continuing to learn more about the 7.8 magnitude earthquake that shook most of south central Turkey early this morning. Now, an earthquake of this magnitude is expected to be destructive anywhere in the world, but it is particularly sad to see in southern Turkey, where buildings don't meet that criteria that we have here in the United States. And you can see those yellow dots. Those are aftershocks that we've seen in the past 24 hours. And it's the aftershocks that have also really continued to see this devastation along the Antillean fault system. The fault system around this region has been quiet for some time now. Only 3 earthquakes of magnitude 6 or larger has occurred since 1970. So there was apparently a lot of tension within this fault system. And we've seen over 30 significant aftershocks around the region, all the way from the Mediterranean Sea, felt in Jordan, northern Egypt, and all the way up towards the city in Turkey called Malatya. They saw 6.7 aftershock just 11 minutes after the initial earthquake, and even 9 hours after the initial earthquake, they saw a 7.5 magnitude aftershock. as well. Even here in the United States, we have been seeing seismic waves, which are don't pose a threat, but felt all across the country. To put into perspective how strong a near 8 magnitude is, it has the equivalent of 33 billion pounds of explosives. So Frank Val, it explains why we continue to see all this devastation.
All right.
Great analysis, Grant. Thank you. The search for debris from that suspected Chinese spy balloon continues off the coast of Myrtle Beach.
How the call for answers continues in Washington as lawmakers await a national security briefing.
The Navy is still working to recover debris from the suspected Chinese surveillance balloon off the coast of South Carolina. The military shot it down over the weekend near Myrtle Beach. In Washington, D.C., members of Congress are eager to be briefed on the national security implications of the incident and how the president responded. National correspondent Atra El-Nashar has reaction from lawmakers.
This suspected Chinese surveillance balloon no longer in the sky, but leaves behind an ominous reminder of the low point in U.S.-China relations and partisan cynicism about America's response.
We don't have confidence that this administration is doing much to protect the homeland.
I would use 2 words in answering these GOP criticisms. They are premature and they are political.
Intelligence that's both incomplete as the military searches for debris and not fully known by members of Congress, set to be briefed over the next 2 weeks. Right away, the most pressing questions: when and how to take the balloon down.
We want to know why the administration didn't act sooner to shoot the balloon down.
A senior defense official says Saturday at 2:39 p.m. was the first available opportunity to do it without threatening the safety of Americans on the ground. Former Trump National Security Advisor John Bolton pushing back.
With all due respect to the great citizens of Alaska and Montana, it's less populated than here at home.
The senior defense official also says allowing the balloon to fly over the U.S. had intelligence value for the Pentagon. It allowed them to study it. Similarly, many in Washington are anxious to learn what, if any, intel China was able to gather that it couldn't already get from its satellites.
We're going to find what signals intelligence that the administration might have been able to capture, and from that understand what this was doing.
The senior defense official says Chinese surveillance balloons briefly flew over the U.S. once already during this administration and at least 3 times during the Trump administration, former members of which say they were never told. CNN reports the incidents weren't discovered until after Trump left office. Another spotted over Latin America, China claiming it and the one shot down by the U.S. are for research purposes and veered off course. Its foreign ministry hinting at retaliation, unclear what that would look like and what it means for deteriorating relations with the U.S. In Washington, I'm Atra El-Nashar reporting.
Authorities in Ohio made a planned controlled release of toxic material this afternoon to prevent a catastrophic explosion following a train derailment that happened there. Governor Mike DeWine was briefed on the situation. About 50 train cars, 10 containing hazardous materials, derailed in a fiery crash on Friday night. Crews will place charges onto 5 remaining tankers to spill the contents into trenches to burn off. Officials say without that, there could be an explosion that sends shrapnel up to a mile away. The governor ordered a mandatory evacuation with police threatening to arrest anyone who refuses to leave.
Those in the red area are facing grave danger of death if they are still in that area. Those living in the orange area are at risk of severe injury including skin burns and serious lung damage.
The burn could last for hours. The Ohio EPA says it's working side by side with crews evaluating impacts to air and water. They say there have been impacts to fish, but groundwater is still okay. They're conducting testing on residential wells as well. Up next, Donnie Cox has the forecast for the rest of your work week.
Things are going to be pretty nice as a warm-up is on the way. We'll check in with Donnie next.
We are starting off the new week on a positive note across the southeastern part of the country. Look at all the clear skies. Some clouds to the north, but the 7 southeastern states looking in pretty good shape for the day. And it looks like as we go through the next couple of days, we'll continue to see a nice little warm up as well. So that is going to help us out. again, as we make our way through the end of the week, that'll all change for us. You can see as we back out and show you what's responsible for all this. A weak little cold front will drop through the area as we head through the daytime on a Wednesday. It looks like that the high pressure will start to slide on in our direction, but again, it's later in the week that we'll be watching the showers trying to make their way into our region as we get into the end of the week, especially is when we're looking at the next best chance of rain. Take a look at temperatures in the area right now. We're back into the upper 40s, low 50s, a little bit warmer closer to the coast, but again, we're looking at the mid 50s. Should be just about near normal for this time of year. Radar scanning the skies, all dry across the region. Not much in the way of cloud. Here's one or two renegade clouds hanging out just to our northwest. But again, I think in the overnight, we're going to remain clear. You see the green streaks indicating that northerly flow. Those will actually settle inland. Anytime you see the streaks, it's 10 miles per hour or more. As you get over land, notice that starts to go away. So winds will actually become calm for tonight. Toward tomorrow morning, maybe a cloud to the northwest. But again, I think the clear skies and the settling winds will allow those temperatures to drop back to near 30 degrees inland. We're looking at near 40 along the coast, even on the outer banks, the low 40s. So as we go through the overnight, still a cold night with the clear skies, calm conditions as we mentioned. Kids, the bus stop tomorrow morning, you'll need a coat, 35 degrees as you start the day. And it looks like for the daytime tomorrow, just lots of sunshine. We do have a cloud or two that will try to slide through the area. Nothing really to worry about. It's just to remind us that a cloud can occasionally make its way through the region. And temperatures tomorrow a little above normal. You should be about 57 this time of year, so a bit warmer with the south wind at about 5 to 10, and mostly sunny skies will be in the low 60s. After that, we warm all the way into the low 70s by the end of the week. You can see Thursday with a few more clouds ahead of that next system. Then the rain arrives on Friday. It's about an 80% chance. 71 will be your temperature. Could even be a thunderstorm late in the day, but then behind that front, we cool off again below normal in the low 50s as we head into Saturday and Sunday.
Weather Window, presented by the National Weather Desk.
It's been cold enough around Lake Michigan for ice to form. This is Michigan City in Indiana with a full moon overhead, but with temperatures now above freezing, some melting is underway. A spooky early morning fog greeted residents of Aberdeen, Mississippi today. Very different from this stunning sunrise in Greenville, Tennessee. Now that's a much better morning view.
For more content like this, follow the National Weather Desk on Instagram.
We also get some beautiful sunrises here in Eastern Carolina.
We do.
Coming up in sports, a familiar face returns to the Ayden-Grifton High School football camp.
Brett Kennedy is coming up next with sports.
I'm here at Parrott Academy High School in Kinston, where the Parrott Academy girls basketball team is currently playing in the first round of their conference tournament against Wayne Christian tonight. I'll have more highlights from this game later on tonight at 10 and 11, as well as hear from Kelly Johnson, the team's legendary head coach for the Patriots, retiring after the season is over. We'll hear from Johnson tomorrow. But let's go from one coach who is retiring to one coach who is coming back into coaching out of retirement. Ayden-Grifton announcing Paul Cornwell is returning to the Chargers head football coach. And as an AG alum and longtime football coach, Cornwell retired to get into administration a few years ago. He had been at Farmville Central as an assistant principal. Cornwell now returns to his alma mater, where he had a record of 132 wins and only 65 losses before he left. The Chargers never had a losing season with him at the helm. With the team, Cornwell won 6 conference titles, 1 Eastern Final, and 1 state runner-up back in 2013. Before he decided to come back, Cornwell was helping the school with their coaching search when he realized his love for the sport was still there.
The more we talked about it, the more my family, I was telling them about it, and just made, came together. Thought it was a good fit. My girls are in school here, and I miss coaching. I missed a lot of it, and so I just felt like that this was a good opportunity to get back in and a great place to do it. I'm rejuvenated in that I'm getting back into something I enjoyed for a long time, had a passion for. I've learned a lot as an administrator. I've enjoyed that. I've enjoyed the process. And I think that's going to help me be a better coach.
Cornwall inherits a program that hasn't made the playoffs in the last 3 seasons and went winless last year. Big steps to kind of try to get back into the limelight. Duke's basketball team hasn't had much to reveal in their win against North Carolina Saturday night. Not much time. The Blue Devils, who are undefeated at Cameron Indoor Stadium, they're right back on the road tonight, where they have struggled. Duke has won 3 in a row to climb to 6th in the ACC standings, but now they head to Miami. Duke is 2-4 on the road this season.
It's a quick turnaround. You need to get your body recovered, and of course, mentally is as big as anything. We've just gone through this 2 weeks ago with Virginia Tech in a quick turnaround. So hopefully we can use that experience and translate it to Monday night.
Duke beat Miami 68-66 3 weeks ago. The Super Bowl teams are in Phoenix, Arizona, including the Philadelphia Eagles. Former ECU star Linville Joseph, big reason why the Eagles are favored in this one. And we're going to have more from Linville Joseph. You can check out our website to hear from him. And again, we'll have more from the Parrott Academy basketball game highlights, and well as hearing from Kelly Johnson tomorrow. Reporting from Kinston, Brett Kennedy, News Channel 12.
Well, let's take a look at tomorrow with the sunshine out there. It's going to warm us back up to 61. Normally should be about 57, so definitely on the warm-up. And it looks like we'll continue that even through Thursday. And that's when the clouds will start to move in ahead of that next weather maker that will be out on Friday. Notice on Friday, about an 80% chance of rain, and there could even be some thunderstorms late in the day, may linger into Saturday. Saturday afternoon, we'll try to get those out of here, but notice those temperatures drop about 20 degrees almost from Friday to the weekend. That's as the colder air mass settles in behind that system and heads in our way.
Well, good to see warmer temperatures coming this way again.
True, very true.
Looking forward to some sunshine too. And we're putting an end to this Blue Monday for now. Have a good one. Good night.